Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 23rd December 2020. The first article for discussion is Put the Farm Laws on Hold, Uphold Farmers' Rights. So, what do we mean by farmers' rights over here? If you see a farmer holds the land. So, right to hold the land, right to transfer the land, this is one thing. And the second thing is, farmer also produces an agri product. Any producer has a right to determine his price, at what price he wants to sell. And the third is, a farmer is also a citizen. As a citizen, he has a right to life and livelihood. So, it means farmer has certain rights which have to be upheld by the states. In this context, Prime Minister of India has clearly stated that objective is to double the farmer's income. See the point over here, double the farmer's income by 2022. Though the clarity is not provided, either it is real or nominal income, the Prime Minister feels that the farmer's income has to be increased. In this case, what we see is small holdings of land, lack of economies of scale is the major problem. That is the view of the government. So, the small holdings have to be consolidated, and investments have to be made into the agricultural sector, mechanization has to move forward, then we can achieve scalability. So, the scalability, what is the essential requirement? Investments, markets, and then capital, that is capital flows, which are also investment nothing but. And finally, they also feel that mechanization of the agriculture, consolidation of the land holdings, these all can bring in scalability. The government sees scalability as a win-to-win situation. On the other side, why the farmers are agitating? One is minimum support price. If it goes away, then they become the victims of corporate bargaining and then corporate legal, fictitious legal dramas. The second thing is stock holding limitations are being done away with, and big corporates can buy at a cheaper price from the farmers and stock them up and can sell it at a higher price to the consumer. In that way, both producer and consumer can end up losing the money. So, that is the reason why, till everyone gets clarity, every stakeholder feels comfortable, we need to hold the farm laws. That is what essential of this article. Pandemic resilience. What is meant by resilience? Ability to adapt to a change. That is what is called resilience. If we have to adapt to pandemic, what is required in healthcare system? That is a robust, adaptive system, adaptive universal healthcare system. This is what we are looking at. In this case, India does it have this. COVID-19 has clearly proven that Indian healthcare system is not up to the mark. If you see, there is no regulation on healthcare sector, and the second, dominated in the tertiary care by private sector, and more government wants to insure the people and privatize the healthcare sector. So, achieving privatization and universalization is like an oxymoron. Nowhere in the world universal healthcare is not achieved through privatization, and privatization also has increased the costs of healthcare. So, a poor country such as India can afford such a high cost healthcare is the question. In this scenario, what we can say, universal health coverage is required to protect the people against these disasters. So, this has to come means the government budgets have to increase. National health policy stated that government is willing to spend 2.5% of GDP on public health. This has to be realized. Today it is close to 1%. We have to almost 1.5 times increase the expenditure made on the health care. And the second thing is, healthcare has to be inclusive, or other way around I can say it as non-exclusionary. What is meant by this non-exclusionary? Private healthcare, let us put it as, insurance is taken and you went to a private healthcare setup. Then insurer, what he says, if you have these pre-existing diseases like diabetes, hypertension, etc., you are not eligible to use this insurance. Or if you are 65 years old, you are not ready, or you are not allowed to use this insurance. It means the people who most need the services, healthcare services, they are being left out. The very way the insurance model works is keep out the vulnerabilities and risks. It means that the people who can be more risky, where the payment shall go out of the pocket, these will be kept out first, out of the pool first itself. These rules have to be done away with. So the insurance policies have to be made universal and inclusive. It means adults deceased shall not be excluded. And in India, most of the out-of-pocket expenditure is happening for medicines. In this case, Thailand has achieved 75% reduction in the cost by providing for government subsidized or government channeled medicines. Just with a spending of 0.5% of GDP, it was able to provide essential medicines to all. India can also do the same. In this context, it is the time we can say that the challenge shall be converted into an opportunity to change the public health infrastructure and outcomes in India. That is what is takeaway from here. Delaying the inevitable. You know that insolvency bankruptcy code is put in abeyance for till March 31st. It means almost 1 year is gone since IBC was put into abeyance. It has been suspended, you can think that way. What will happen because of this suspense? The first thing which is going to happen is many of the sick companies which wanted to close down, they will not close down, and they will not be in a position to pay the money. As people come to know that they are already on a verge of failure, slowly the asset value, everything starts depreciating. When everything is good, the asset value appreciate. When you are on the losing and when you are dying, asset value will further depreciate. These people will not have a way out. And the second thing, the banks or the company owner, that is promoter, anyone can initiate this particular bankruptcy proceedings or insolvency proceedings. In this scenario, the bank's NPAs are bound to increase, and without insolvency, they don't get a way to receive some part of the money, or they cannot restructure the debts. So the restructuring of the debts and making the company to move forward is also not happening. And finally, if we observe, does all the sectors are facing this challenge? Are all the sectors at the verge of collapse? No. It means micro, small, medium enterprises are facing a challenge. Why can't we fix this, or why can't we keep this only for those sectors which are facing a challenge of losses or challenge of bankruptcy, rather than suspending it for all the sectors? So the blanket suspension is not good. That is what this article argues. Next is playing a game of brinksmanship in Nepal. So KP Sharma Oli in Nepal, the Prime Minister of Nepal, belongs to Communist Party of Nepal, Marxist-Leninist. This man got a good majority, but he is unable to keep the party together. In this context, personal egos, lack of maturity, added to that the politics surrounding democratic institutions, all these have led to the recommendation of suspension of parliament, dissolution of parliament, and president has accepted this dissolution of parliament. Nepal has tried different forms of government till now, presidential system, chief justice governing the system, and then parliamentary style, coalition style, everything they tried. But still a stable government is a distant dream. Why is this happening? Constitution has become the victim of politics. Remember, unless a political will, a fair thinking, value system, vision do not exist for the political leadership, constitution becomes the victim in that particular country, and Nepal stands as an example over here. COVID-19 and limits of political accountability. What is meant by political accountability? Accountability of the people who are in power. The people who are making decisions, these have to be answerable for their decisions. So, if you take various leaders, Bolsonaro in Brazil, Trump in America, Putin in Russia, and then Boris Johnson in UK, all these people have failed miserably in controlling COVID-19. But what is the accountability they are facing? At least if you see in America, Trump is sent home. And then if you see Brazil, Bolsonaro has refused to take up the vaccine himself. This clearly shows there is something or some systems which are getting weakened in democracy. If democracy, in democracy, the important value is accountability. What makes democracy and autocracy different from each other? Democracy is answerable to the people. So if democratic accountability is weakened, democracy gets weakened. If democracy gets weakened, the power in the hands of the people gets weakened, and it is not good for the today's society or today's people. So political accountability to the people is an important virtue of democracy. It has to be ensured. Why it has weakened, that has been explained. Let us take, most of these people have divided the society into different groups, and these people are not ready to accept anything against them. Second thing, elections are only the mechanism to ensure the accountability today, and these elections have got many other weaknesses in them among themselves. If you take Russia, elections are just a farce. If you go to Brazil, there is no strong opposition, and this have to be arrested. Elections have to be made truly reflective of the political power. And second part is, people are divided like never before. Definitely social media has played an important role. The control over social and mainstream media, this is one of the reasons why few leaders are gaining enormous power and also not answerable to the people. These have to be understood. Politics can wait, but not development, Prime Minister Modi. Here he is addressing Aligarh Muslim University, and he says that the societal development has to first come, and society, all sections of the society irrespective of caste, creed, religion and gender, these have to develop. Women empowerment, inclusive development, these have to be the goals of a given society, and politics have to be an instrument to facilitate this. If politics becomes the first priority over the societies may degenerate. So societies need to develop, and diversity of India has to be respected in this process of development. That is what Prime Minister Modi is stating. Health data shows India does not need a two-child policy. So let us understand this point. NFHS 5, if you observe, total fertility rate is reached to 2.1, 14 out of the 17 states. It means it's a very good number. 2.1 is called replacement level of fertility rate. And it also stated that use of contraceptives, the knowledge about contraceptives and their use increased in almost all the states. This clearly shows that limiting the number of children a couple can have is happening voluntarily. So forcibly bringing in two-child norm is not worthy of our effort, and it is also violation of the rights of the people and reproductive choices of the people. That is what this article states. 20 flyers from UK test positive. You know that a new variant or new strain of COVID-19 appeared in UK. It is said to be spreading faster and less virulent. I can put it as the effect of that is less, and the spread is much faster than existing virus. And the existing vaccines, can they stop it? We are not yet clear. So that's why stay home, stay safe, wear mask. This is Dr. Rambabu signing off for Law Excellence IAS.